Hello, children. Children, do you know who is a baker? Yes, a baker is one who bakes bread, cake, biscuit, cookies, and also sometimes sells them. His workshop, where he bakes his things, is known as a bakery. And children, how many are there in a dozen? Yes, everyone knows it is 12. And have you ever heard of a baker's dozen? It counts 13. There are many stories as to how a baker's dozen became from 12 to 13. And today I, Kahani Wali Nani, am going to tell you a wonderful story about this. This is an American folk tale. And children, before I begin, I want to tell you that you can hear more such interesting stories where on my YouTube channel of Kahani Wali Nani. Subscribe and press the bell icon so that you never miss a new story from me. If you like the story, press the like button and send your comments too. You can share the story with your friend by clicking on the share icon. And now, children, listen to the story Why a Baker's Dozen is 13. This is a story of a city in a Dutch colony and which we now know it as Albany. There lived a baker named Van Amsterdam. He was a very good baker. Everyone appreciated his bakes, and people came thronging to his bakery to buy them. Yes, he was very honest, a good salesman too. He took care that his customers got the right thing, what they wanted, and what they had paid for, neither less nor more. And children, a day before the 6th December, it was one of the busiest days for Van Amsterdam. Actually, the Dutch celebrated 6th December as Saint Nicholas Day. And Van Amsterdam was very famous for his Saint Nicholas cookies. People flocked to his shop to buy them. He made them of gingerbread with red and white icing on them, and they looked just like Saint Nicholas. Saint Nicholas was known as a tall, thin person wearing a high red bishop's cap and a long red cloak. And Van Amsterdam's cookies looked just like him. Now, one year on 6th December, Van Amsterdam had a busy day. In the evening, he counted his earnings and was getting ready to close his shop when he heard a knock at the door. Van Amsterdam said, "Oh, a customer at this hour? So late?" Nevertheless, he was happy. He saw an old woman with a strange face. She was wearing a long black shawl. She came in and said, "I've heard your cookies are very, very nice. Please pack for me a dozen of St. Nicholas cookies." "Sure, madam," said the baker happily, and he began putting the cookies in a tray. He counted 1, 2, 3, and stopped after 12. He was about to wrap them when the lady said, "Wait, wait. I asked for a dozen. You are giving me only 12. Give me 13. The baker looked up and said, "Madam, everyone knows a dozen means 12 and not 13. The lady said, "But I say a dozen is 13. Give me one more cookie." But Van Amsterdam said, "Madam, my customers always get what exactly they pay for. Not more, not less. I will give you only 12, not 13. "Then I don't want them. Keep them for yourself," said the woman angrily, and she turned towards the door. And suddenly she turned back and said, "Van Amsterdam, however honest you are, Your heart is small and your fist is tight. Fall again, mount again, and learn how to count again. And saying so, she went away. Now, Van Amsterdam closed his shop. He was least worried about his last customer. But children, in the morning, something happened in the baker's shop. Everything went wrong. What happened, you know? His bread rose either too high or did not rise at all. His cakes were either crumpled or too chewy. And his cookies, they either got burnt or were doughy. His pies were too sour or too sweet. Anything he baked turned bad. And then Van Amsterdam's customers began complaining. Sir, what is this? The cake is so chewy. The pie is so sour. Your cookies are not the same as they were earlier. We don't want them. And soon what happened? His customers stopped coming to his shop. Van Amsterdam was worried. He would think, I don't know what is happening and why is this happening? I'm sure that old lady who came that day on St. Nicholas Day has cursed me. She has put a spell on me. I was honest. I was giving her a dozen. I was not giving her something less. And why should I give her more? She had paid only for 12 cookies, so I had to give her only 12. And then this way, a year passed. All his customers slipped away. Shop was nearly empty. And as his sales stopped, he became poorer and poorer. He had very little money left with him. A day before St. Nicholas Day, no customer came to his shop. Van Amsterdam was very sad thinking about the good old days. Before going to sleep, he said to himself, now only Saint Nicholas himself can help me. Oh, then it will be fine again. Saint Nicholas, please help me. And he went to sleep. Now he had a strange dream that day. Children, do you know what did he dream? Van Amsterdam saw himself as a small boy, and there were many more children around him. Yes, there was Saint Nicholas on his white horse. He had a basket full of gifts and he was distributing them among the children. Van Amsterdam was surprised. Why? Because he saw that no matter how many gifts Nicholas passed out of his basket, the basket always seemed to be full. And then Saint Nicholas handed a gift to Van Amsterdam. It was what, the same Nicholas cookies which he used to bake. Van Amsterdam looked up to thank him, but oh, Saint Nicholas had gone away, and there stood the old lady with a red shawl. And she said, see, during his whole life, Saint Nicholas had served the needy, wiping tears of pain for those who suffered. God has always been generous to us, and as His children, why should we not be the same? And Van Amsterdam woke up with a start. It was midnight. He thought, I always give my customers exactly for what they pay me, neither less nor more. But yes, if I give them a little more, no problem. The next day he got up early. He rolled out the gingerbread dough, molded them, and baked them. And then he put a red and white icing. He was very happy and surprised at the same time. Why? Because his cookies had turned out perfect as they would be earlier. Just as he laid the cookies on a tray, the door opened And you know who was there? Yes, the same old lady with a black shawl. Before Van Amsterdam could say anything, she said, "Sir, I come for a dozen of St. Nicholas cookies." Hearing this, Van Amsterdam was excited and he started putting them in a tray. 1, 2, 3, he counted 12. And then what did he do? He took one more and put it in the tray and started packing it. Smilingly handed to the old lady, saying, "As an extra cookie is not a big price to pay for the generosity of God. Now, from now onwards, in my shop, a dozen means 13. Wow, you have learned to count well. You shall be rewarded. Stay blessed," said the old lady. She paid for the cookies and turned towards the door. As the door was closing, Van Amsterdam felt as if he saw the tail end of a red long cloak. Like that of whom? Yes, Saint Nicholas. Now the word spread around that Van Amsterdam gave 13 for a dozen. People again started going to his shop, and yes, all his bakes used to turn out perfectly well. Soon Van Amsterdam grew wealthy. Seeing the well-being of Van Amsterdam, all the other bakers they began the same practice of counting 13 for a dozen, and this spread through all American colonies, and it was practiced for more than a century. And even today, in some towns of the world, it is practiced. So, children, you have well understood why a baker's dozen means 13. So, children, enjoy the joy of giving. Do not be selfish and give cheerfully. Don't hoard or be greedy. The more you give, the more you will get in return. So, be generous. And, children, how did you like the story? Why the baker's dozen is 13? And we'll meet you again next week with a new story. Till then, goodbye. Take care.